people have come from Queensland, Northwest Australia, Tassie, everywhere. It's a great effort.
People here from Broome.
And Broome. And we're here to stand up for the rights of all Australians. This doesn't just concern bike clubs. This is about all Australians. And you should be very proud of yourselves, guys.
Well said, man.
It's about time the rest of this country woke up to what's actually going on. They're having their rights stripped away day by day, and they're not even paying attention. They're too interested in the football or what's going on Big Brother. It's just a joke. Wake up, people. I know I'm speaking to the converted here already, otherwise you wouldn't be here. So this attack on our freedom started back in 2000, actually. And when Mike Rann went to America and visited the CIA, Mike Rann was the Premier of South Australia, and he visited the CIA and the FBI, and he came back with a plan. And him and his Attorney General started enacting it. And the idea was to, and Atkinson actually said live on 5AA radio in Adelaide that the whole thing was a social experiment, and they'd tried in South Australia first because we had a small population. Then they'd spread it around the rest of the country, and then overseas. So, and here it comes, people. It is spreading around the rest of the country, just like the man said it would. People might think that sounds like a conspiracy theory, but that came from the Attorney General in South Australia. It was a big plan. Now, the laws started in South Australia in 2007. They first introduced the laws, which was called the soccer laws, Serious and Organised Criminal Control Act. And it got challenged in the High Court, but we formed a UMC and had a meeting, got all the bike clubs in South Australia together, and formed the UMC and the Free Australia Party. And then we challenged the laws. They introduced them. We challenged them in the High Court, and we won. We didn't actually get the whole law repealed or anything. We just got 2 sections of the law repealed. And that was sections where it was up to a politician, a greedy little scumbag, biased politician, wanting to rush for votes and stuff like that. It was a vote grab, basically. Oh, look at me! Look what I'm doing to the big bad bikies. And well, we defeated those parts where it has to go through a court of law, and it has to, police have to have evidence that you're a criminal organisation. But whereas up in Queensland, they don't need such evidence. They can, old Mr. Newman's just gone, all right, let's declare every club a criminal organisation without any evidence, nothing. There's more criminals in the police force. They're continuously, every day, especially since Vlad started and people are really starting to pay attention, every day there's new stuff about another cop being arrested for rape, extortion, beating people up with excessive force, like just arresting people with totally excessive force, which is just beyond the joke, murder, child porn, pedophilia, the list goes on and on and on. One of the top cops in the NCA, when the NCA existed, National Crime Authority, were investigating the bike clubs. This bloke, Mark Standen, his name was, got busted for bringing in 300 kilos of ice. This was about his 10th. This was about his 10th shipment. All right, and this guy was the head of the NCA. And here he is bringing in drugs and accusing us. You can wonder why they're trying to attack the bike clubs? To keep the attention away from them, because they're importing tons and tons of drugs every year. They're just total outrageous criminals. They're above the law, they believe. The first person to ever be locked up under this law, this type of legislation, was a lad here in New South Wales, or just over the road in New South Wales. And he was a mentally handicapped lad, had nothing to do with bike clubs, and he gets 9 months imprisonment. And this is, our politicians told us, if you weren't a bikie, you had nothing to worry about. Why was the first guy, because he was hanging out in a mall with a couple of mates, why was this young fella put in prison? Why was he locked up? He didn't even deserve to be in prison. He should have been in a mental hospital, not a fucking prison. And here he is, under these laws, the very first person. It's just a joke. You can't believe anything these lying, backstabbing, two-faced, low-life pieces of shit we call politicians say. Not one thing. I don't think they're that good. I think they're lower than that. I'm just being polite. In Queensland and other parts, like there's definitely starting to happen in Victoria and New South Wales. They're telling us we can't work in certain industries, not because we've committed a crime, not because we've done anything wrong, just because of a jacket we wear or who we talk to. They're saying, no, you can't work in the towing industry, you can't work in the building industry, you can't work as a tattooist, you can't own a tattoo studio. Tattooists aren't criminals. We're just ordinary everyday people that try and make a living, and we pay our fucking taxes, not like these idiots up here. They don't pay fuck all. They write the system for everything they can squeeze out of it, and I mean everything, and then they come up with new ones too. Constantly. It just doesn't stop. They're destroying this country. They're taking away everything from everyone else and giving it to them. Yep. It's just a joke. Yep. It's about time this country woke up and realised what these idiots, these lying scumbags are doing to our country. They've got, most of them aren't even Australians, for God's sake. What are they doing in Parliament? It's just a joke. How about the dozen or so that have just been caught in the ICAC recently? Well, why aren't they being charged? We hear about 3 of them have been charged. They caught at least a dozen of them, and they've definitely been found to be corrupt. Now, why aren't all the dozen of them being charged? Yeah, well said. It's a joke. Well said. They've got 3 fall guys that are just going to take the rap for the rest of the hundreds of them, and I don't think there's one person up in that place that isn't corrupt in some way. That's why in January, we had our protest down in front of that building there, because at least the guys that formed that founded that building down there had integrity and this country at heart. These guys here, they don't give a fuck about anything but themselves. They're idiots. Well, that's just about it for me. So I'm just sick of the way this country's going. We've got to do what's right for us. We've got to do what's right for our children. If we don't do it now, what are our children going to be left with? Like you've got anti-terrorism laws. You've got anti-terrorism laws here now that you go and ask anyone in the public, do you know what was passed a month ago? Did you know that they passed a law that they're allowed to shoot unarmed citizens? Did you know that they passed a law that they're allowed to torture? Like, seriously, this is here in this country, and most people don't even realise that that was rushed through. Oh my God, terrorism high alert! Terrorism high alert! Quick, panic! Let's rush in new laws. The next day, we don't hear a thing about terrorism. As soon as they bring in the laws, since that day, has terrorism even been mentioned on the telly? I don't think it has.
You're right, Bear.
It's a dead set joke. They rush it through. They convince the sheep. Here we go. Let's pass a new law. Let's do this. Let's do that. They've got to create a monster to protect the people from, so that way they can take our rights off us.
Yep.
It's just a joke. Wake up, Australia. It's time you all woke the fuck up.